I don't know what it is about this phase of life that I'm in, but I have a lot of anxiety regarding big adult things in my emails. And I feel like there's been a series of emails I've had to deal with over the last couple of months, just phase of my life that have just kind of sent me into a spiral. And so I got one on Saturday that I was expecting. It wasn't a total surprise. But when I saw it, I immediately just got this pit in my stomach and this wave of nausea and these nerves that just overtook my body. My hands were shaking that I had to cancel everything that I was going to do Saturday night because I needed to be on my couch watching Outlander for the 7th time.
Because email just sent you that much into a tizzy, and it has something to do with adulting?
Yep.
I'm sitting over here thinking, what could it possibly be?
But I know you're a catastrophizer, so I'm sure you got up in your head about something.
This is not a prank, by the way. This is a secret I've been keeping for a hot second. And it's not from a listener. This is purely business.
Purely business. It has something to do with taxes?
It doesn't not have something to do with taxes.
So this is something...
But yes, now that you bring that up, I am really nervous about my taxes.
Something to do with a home.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Wait. Do you think you found your home?
I put an offer in on Saturday.
Yay! That's so exciting!
And I spiraled. If you missed me talking about it on air on my social media, back in January, I decided to make the biggest impulse purchase of my life and purchase a home. And so I started looking at some houses that I'd been looking at on Realtor.com and was kind of dabbling with the thought of making an investment, and then kind of got trigger shy and then decided not to, and then decided to randomly to go start looking again. And there's just this place that I've been looking at for close to a year that I was like, let me check that one out. And then there's another place that popped up and I checked that one out, and I finally made a decision. I was like, screw it. If I'm going to make any kind of investment, it might as well be one I'm excited about. And so this is the route I'm going down.
So so this email came from your realtor.
So this email came from my realtor just because the adulting thing, like you just don't know how everything works. I mean,
it's annoying.
It's so weird. Like you just decide, okay, I'm going to buy a condo or I'm going to buy a townhouse. I'm just going to do this thing. And then you just have no idea like what that even means. You have to talk to these lenders and you have to send them all your tax information and your W-2s, and then they have to approve you, and then you have to negotiate the APRs or the rates. And then you get an email that has your official offer in it. And there's so many things that are like, hey, look through it and then let me know what you think. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't even know what to look for. Like I see the number, I see the other number, and then all of this legal jargon. And I like don't know what I don't know.
It's basically like a foreign language.
It's a foreign language. So I sent it to my dad and he goes, cool. And I was like, is that it? Like, you don't and my mom called me and I just started breaking down to her because, I'm entering that phase of adulthood where I'm starting to feel like an adult. And I think there was something about this process where I'm like, this is so big and scary that all I want is for my parents to look at me and go, this is right. Do it. Go for it. And I've been really struggling with the fact that my parents have really been hands off in this process because I'm like, I'm just a girl. I don't know how to do this.
I'm just a baby.
And so my dad, he's on the golf course. He's drinking a beer. He's like, looks good. I'm like, what does that mean? Okay. And my mom doesn't know. I mean, my dad's handled all the finances in our life. So she's like, sounds great. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a lot of legal stuff that I'm just going to sign off on.
Well, that's why you have a realtor.
Yeah.
Like if you were doing this sans realtor, that would make, I could understand that. But, and like there are some people out there who feel like they can do that. But let's go ahead and give them a plug because they spend money on the station and I endorse them. So ding. So the Justin Landis group, like that's why you hire a professional because they're going to look through all that stuff and be like, hey, all this looks good to go. I just need your autograph, your John Hancock, and let's get you like your very own place that you own.
I know. Well, I think that's just a credit to Hannah Wehunt, who I've been working with at the Justin Landis group. I just trust her. So I'm like, you know what? I just know that whatever you've written is right. So I'm just going to click these buttons.
Yep.
And I'm just going to girl boss my way into a mortgage. and I'm going to press send because my dad says, cool. My mom said, yeah. And you said it looks good. So I trust y'all more than I trust me.
That's enough.
Okay. So we got to back up because there's a lot to digest here.
I know I've specifically not talked about it on air, so there's a lot of backstory.
Yeah. So this new place, and obviously you don't want to disclose like your street address.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to even disclose the vicinity of where you're looking, that's fine. But what was it that got you back out there?
Mm-hmm.
And what is it about this particular place that you're like, I'm putting in an offer?
Okay, so why I decided to go through with it. So in January, I was just kind of taking a look at my finances and what I think the next couple years are going to look like. And Atlanta really is starting to feel homey to me. I really do love it here. And I think there's a little bit of a trauma response of having my entire personal life fall apart when I moved to Atlanta and feeling so at home anywhere. I would go back to Jacksonville and I would feel kind of stranded and feel very uneasy there for a bunch of different reasons. And then I'd come back to Atlanta and I'd still be kind of getting my sea legs in terms of like making friends and finding a new routine and getting comfortable at work and trying to be good at my job. And it just kind of got to this point where I was like, I didn't expect to feel so uneasy in my personal life. And I think the thought of starting over and not being at home somewhere is very, very scary. And I think to a point, there's a part of me that's like, I just want a physical manifestation of the feeling that I'm starting to get. And the feeling is feeling at home again. And there's a part of me, despite the fact that I think being in an apartment right now, especially with all the fire alarms going off, it's just starting to not feel homey. And because I'm in a financial place where I can handle a mortgage, and I just want a home to take care of, I was like, I'm just going to go for it. And then I started looking because there were a couple of places that I had been looking at for a while. And I was like, I hope when I look for a home, these places are out there or something that looks like that is out there. And then I was like, well, why don't I, instead of waiting for a place that looks like that, like, why don't I just go get that place? So I started looking at some homes and then I got a little trigger shy because it's really scary to make such a big financial thing on your own.
It's a huge responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility. And I just never thought...
It's like the pinnacle of adulting besides having a kid.
Dude, it is. I just didn't think I would do this on my own. I think that's another thing too that I've had to deal with. And I think you, as a woman, you have to have that conversation of I'm going to commit to this place for the next 5 years. And there's a conversation that you have to have with yourself where it's like, okay, am I accepting the fact that I'm making this purchase knowing that like no one is coming? Like,
no, and I'm actually I'm actually glad it's happening this way because I was the same age as you when I got my first place. I did it solo. It's so empowering. And I really think it's going to have an effect on you that's going to be so positive.
I think so too. Because I've talked to a lot of girls in my circle and I'm like, have you thought about purchasing a home? Like, I know you're financially capable. And they always kind of say the same thing that I said to myself for years. It's like, well, I want to buy a place with my boyfriend or I want to buy a place with my husband. And I had to sit down with myself and go, okay, you said this 3 years ago. No one is here. So am I going to hold out on this thing that could be really good for me financially or just mentally because I think somebody is coming? So anyway, I know this is going on really, really long, but I went to go look at a couple of places. And I think the cool thing about both the places that I was deciding between, or the 3 places I was deciding between, is they were all owned by really cool independent women.
Nice.
I Googled them. I stalked them. And I was like...
You're stalking the previous owners.
I was stalking them. I had to find out what the situation was. And I was just like, I feel so cool that I'm amongst this group of women that live on their own, that bought these places on their own. And I feel like so empowered that I'm amongst that group of women that can handle this responsibility. So I put in an offer. It has not been accepted yet. So I'll probably know more tomorrow.
But the offer's out there.
That's
dope.
there.
Congratulations.
The horrors persist, but so do I.
The Bert Show.
Q. The Bert Show.